Something strange is happening to Nintendo in 2026. Big publishers aren't treating it like the side console anymore. They aren't treating it like a system you port games to later. They're treating it like a main platform. And once that happens, the balance of the entire games industry starts to shift. Because for years, Nintendo lived in a very specific lane. Amazing first-party games. Unmatched nostalgia. But if you wanted major third-party releases, real, current AAA games, you usually looked somewhere else. That assumption is quietly collapsing. And the Switch 2 is the reason why. Not because it's the most powerful console on the market, it isn't. But because, for the first time in a long time, Nintendo has removed the excuses publishers used to have for skipping it. This became impossible to ignore during Nintendo's February 2026 partner showcase. Instead of focusing on Mario, Zelda, or Pokémon, Nintendo handed the spotlight to third-party studios. And what showed up felt less like a supporting lineup and more like a statement. Bethesda revealed 3 major games coming to the Switch 2. Fallout 4, Anniversary Edition, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and The Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion Remastered. These aren't small experiments. These are full-scale Western RPGs and blockbuster titles that, not long ago, simply wouldn't have been expected on a Nintendo system at all. And Bethesda wasn't alone. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is launching on Switch 2 in June. Capcom confirmed Resident Evil Requiem, alongside Biohazard and Village. Pragmata is arriving with a playable demo. Even titles like Valheim, Digimon Story, and Monster Hunter are lining up throughout the year. This isn't nostalgia padding. This is current generation support. What makes this more interesting is the timing. The Switch 2 has already been out since mid-2025. It isn't brand new anymore. And yet 2026 is shaping up to be the year where third-party confidence actually arrives. That suggests something important happened behind the scenes. Nintendo didn't suddenly try to outmuscle PlayStation or Xbox on raw power. Instead, it focused on practicality. Developers now have a system that's easier to scale to. A clearer performance target. Modern features that don't require massive compromises. And a user base that's already massive and still growing. For publishers, that combination matters more than technical power. And you can feel the change in how games are being announced. These aren't framed as special Switch versions. They're just versions. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth isn't being pitched as a miracle port. Fallout 4 isn't treated like a novelty. They're being spoken about the same way they would be on any other platform. That's a subtle shift, but it's a powerful one. It also says something about where Nintendo sees itself going. For most of the Switch era, Nintendo didn't need third-party dominance. Its first-party output carried the platform on its own. But in 2026, the strategy feels different. Nintendo isn't chasing power. It's chasing relevance in every release window. Look at the calendar. February alone brings Fallout 4, Resident Evil Requiem, and multiple demos. Spring and summer stack RPGs, action games, and remasters. And by the end of the year, Switch 2 owners aren't just waiting on Nintendo games. They're choosing between the same titles as everyone else. That changes how people think about buying a console. When a system stops being the one you own alongside another console and starts being the one you could own instead, everything changes. And this doesn't just affect Nintendo. If Switch 2 continues pulling in major releases, even slightly later ones, it puts pressure on the rest of the industry. Publishers want reach. Nintendo has reach. They want stable platforms. Nintendo has one. And increasingly, they want systems that can support modern games without exploding budgets. That's where the Switch 2 quietly fits better than expected. So when people ask what the future of Nintendo looks like, the answer isn't about specs or exclusives. It's about positioning. In 2026, Nintendo isn't trying to be the most powerful console maker. It's trying to be the most unavoidable one. And judging by the lineup we're seeing, it might already be there.